India's market news headquarters. Cutting-edge analysis. Influential insights. Market-moving intelligence. Broadcasting live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios in Mumbai.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call. It's a Thursday morning. We are coming to you from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios. Yesterday was a bit disappointing for bulls because the market gave up gains twice. Once at about 11:30, the second time a little before 2:30. And the Nifty ended flat. But banks is another story. And PSU banks, of course, were what really did very well. I'm Prashant. With me, my colleagues Nigel and Surbhi. Guys, hi, good morning.
Hi, morning, folks. And the good thing is that we had another round of FPI buying. Yep. Though you can never say these days, right? With so many blocks happening, so many companies doing QIP. So whether that's actual real money coming in or not, that's always going to be a little bit of a point of debate on whether the data is skewed.
Well, in political cues, we'll officially have a new chief minister today of Maharashtra. So the long wait is over, and I think the suspense will be ended later this evening.
Absolutely. And did you? All of us watched that clip.
We saw that clip.
That press conference. I mean, I think very few things come close to. I mean, just the moment was something else. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think the three of them put together.
I am going.
And then Mr. Shinde's quip after that कि कभी-कभी सुबह भी शपथ लेते हैं, शाम को भी लेते हैं.
I mean, that is television for you, right? And you know, it's quite amazing what happened. And of course, today is going to be heated political developments, and really, I mean, actually, it's a holiday here in Mumbai. Schools and I think a lot of that. Those are pictures, of course, from that press conference. And I think I'm not sure if this is after or before that. I think this is maybe as they were sitting down. Yeah, I mean, oath-taking here at the government, people are eagerly looking forward to. And of course, then the business of governance under this new government will start. I mean, I think Mumbaikars have also got high expectations in terms of, you know, what the government can do, especially for infrastructure, roads, etc. I mean, simple issues like that, but of course, which matter a great deal. More on this as we go along. But let me just quickly run you through the market cues, really, before we go any further. So equities last night had a good session. They ended higher. S&P was up 0.6%. Nasdaq ended about 1.2, 1.3 odd percent. So it was tech stocks which did very well. Now, I'll sort of, you know, I'm just sort of going in reverse in that sense. But US ISM services data came. It was resilient, but compared to expectations, it missed estimates. You had services, by the way, is more sticky as compared to manufacturing across data points. The 10-year yield, consequently, actually across the treasury curve, there was about a 4-5 basis point sell-off. The yield on the 10-year was around 3.5 basis points. We left off at about 4.19. But it was just not macro markets which impacted, you know, the Nasdaq and how well it did as compared to other indices. You also had results. Marvel Technologies, which does integrated chips, integrated circuit boards and chips, etc. That stock ended 23% higher. It gave a strong guidance, citing robust, strong demand for chips which go into AI demand. And I think that sort of supported the entire complex. So there was the macro, but there was the micro as well, why tech stocks did well. Dollar roughly unchanged, 106.3. You had Fed Chair Powell, who spoke at that New York Times Deal Book Summit, and he essentially, his approach was cautious. He essentially said that the economy is in a remarkably good shape. He did not say this or that in terms of what the Fed will do in December and January. Market pricing in terms of what the Fed will do has also not changed. So if you look at it, for December, markets are pricing about 20 basis point cut, and they're sort of factoring in a pause as far as January is concerned. The other cue today, of course, is OPEC Plus, which is meeting, and oil prices slightly lower going into it, of course, but oil prices yesterday were up about 2.5%. You had Donald Trump, the president-elect, announcing some appointments. And Paul Atkins is the new SEC chairman, Securities Exchange Commission chairman, who's the market regulator like SEBI here. But Mr. Atkins, of course, is also a big advocate of cryptos. And, you know, will cryptos and things like Bitcoin be mainstreamed in over the next 4 years? That's the thing. Of course, the entire crypto complex did very well as well. Just to circle back and tie in the levels, resistance for the Nifty, although we kind of ended absolutely flat, the resistance remains the same, 50% retracement of the entire fall, 24,770. Important support comes in at about 24,281. You could also see, I mean, the last highs which the market took a long time labor to really get above, which is 24,350 or so. That could be the first support. And then the more important near-term support is 24,281, 40 hourly exponential average. Bank Nifty decisively broke above the high of 52,760 yesterday. And this is where, I mean, stuff can happen. If momentum sustains, are we looking at all-time highs? Right? I mean, the all-time high, of course, is 54,467. It's 1,200 points away, about 2.5%. So we'll see if that is possible and there is enough in the tank here. And supports again here come in the hourly average. 52,424 is that number. GIFT Nifty will give you a sense of how we're likely to start. It's about 40 odd points lower. Surabhi.
Okay, well, Asia is actually a pretty mixed picture today. I'll get to that in just a bit. A few more data points from the US. Now, we all know that on Friday, we're watching out for this big jobs report, right? The private sector payrolls data came in yesterday, and that was actually a little softer than anticipated because the ADP report said that the number of payrolls added was about 146,000. The estimates were northwards of 160,000. Not just that, ADP revised its October numbers lower as well. So some softness in the private sector data, but the main one is the Friday jobs report. Now, ahead of this jobs report, the Fed chair is telling us the US economy is looking really good. So just to take that entire statement, Prashant mentioned, I just want to pull out the whole statement. He says the labor market is better and the downside risks appear to be less in the labor market. This is very explicit commentary coming in from Mr. Powell. He says growth is definitely stronger than we thought and inflation is coming a little higher. So it's got the debate going all over again. The probability still is that you'll get about 25 basis points in December just because they did a massive cut with 50 basis points earlier. So how can they suddenly do a knee-jerk reversal and say, oh, now the economy is okay? So that's on the Fed. The Fed guessing will continue. As I said, more importantly, Friday, the jobs data will give us a clearer picture. Now, coming to Asia, markets are a little mixed. The Chinese markets are trading slightly lower. Hong Kong, Shanghai, Taiwan, however, is slightly higher. You're seeing some gains in Japan. The focal point continues to be a lot of this political uncertainty in South Korea. Now, the Kospi is actually, for the time being, it's trading down 0.2% or so. But everything's happening out here from, martial law to not having martial law to now an impeachment of the South Korean president, Yoon Suk Yeol. So that whole political upheaval is very much in focus. Speaking of political upheavals, yesterday the vote in France went through, the no confidence motion. So the Prime Minister is out. And on the back of that, the dollar-euro has been moving all over the place, but it's stabilizing at around 105, the euro to the dollar. So let's see, that's another watch point when we're talking about global politics. Now let's come home. Yesterday's session, yes, the Nifty managed a flat close, but those sudden drops were very, very unnerving. The good news is that the FPI buying continued second day running. You have a 4-digit buy figure. Almost 1,800 crores of net buying coming in. Now, whether it's through QIPs or blocks, I mean, people argue, and you see the rationale in that. At the end of the day, it's the color of money, and all that money is coming into the Indian equity market, whichever way you're looking at it. Domestic institutions were on the sell side yesterday, almost 900 crores of selling. Let's come to some stocks and news, and you'll want to hear more from our team for sure on this. Vodafone Idea and Indus Towers, both of these will be in focus because Vodafone PLC is going to be selling 3% of its stake in Indus Towers. And Nimesh was telling us about it. He's got it spot on. So more details on this. The market believes that this money eventually will make its way back to Vodafone Idea, though initially the statement said that Vodafone PLC will use some of the proceeds to clear off some of the loans that it has, the dues that it has. Apart from that, Bharat Forge, PG Electroplast, there are QIPs that these companies are doing, so let's watch out for them. There is IGL, which is going to be considering a bonus very soon. So plenty to keep us busy this morning. Watch out for Indraprastha Gas as well. And finally, just placing this on the record, the 11th round of commercial coal mining auctions is starting off. There are 27 blocks on offer. And, as we all remember, and Nigel will tell us more, sometimes if the mine is really hotly debated and it's a very contentious one, sometimes you'll see a flip on these stocks. But we'll watch out for Nigel. You'll remember, I still remember that Gare Parma 4 block. I can never forget because there was intense bidding for that one a couple of years back.
Well, and that was very different, right?
Yeah,
because that was a captive source.
That was a captive
talking
mine.
about commercial, commercial mining. By the way, I think what you need to track right now is Bitcoin. You know why? It's hit that mark. That
100,000.
100,000 mark is what the Bitcoin has hit as we speak. I was just looking at CNBC, our web team has put it out. So 1 lakh on the Bitcoin. But coming back to the equity markets then, today is going to be a big day because we've had a last couple of good trading sessions and today's the weekly expiry, which always calls for some more attention. So can the bulls take the Nifty to those highs on the weekly expiry going to be important. The Nifty Bank, that's clearly the one that's taken up leadership because HDFC Bank has found its form. But for today, can the IT index come to the party? Overnight as well, the Nasdaq was rather strong. So let's see whether or not there is some rub-off on that front. What about the FIs? Well, in the cash market, things are looking much better. And in the F&O market now, things have turned around because now they're adding long positions. And in fact, they're covering some short positions. They continue to remain net short on the index with 62% of the positioning on the short side. But otherwise, we have been seeing these shorts are getting covered out. And now, because of the kind of short covering you've seen from the FIs, on their short positions, that's why at around 83,000 net short contracts, this is the lowest net short position from the FIs we have seen since October 8th. So a fair bit of that short covering bounce has been seen on that front as well. But now cash market buying as well is there to support. The clients, well, they have got it spot on. They have been right, bang on. So they have been booking their long positions and they have been net long for the last two series. And in November, they didn't get much success because the index ended lower. But now, in fact, they're still sitting net long, but they've booked some kind of profits on that front. Moving to the options data, since today is the weekly expiry, well, there's there seems to be a short straddle that's at play. That is, you write the same strike, the call as well as put, and you pocket the premium, which the premium will be roughly around 200, 250 rupees or thereabouts. So this gives you the broad range. On the downside, 24,300 is the mark that you're looking at. On the upside, 24,700. That's the broad range you're looking at for today's trading session for the expiry. The levels that you're looking at, higher levels, well, 50 and 100 EMA. So if you can get past the 24,550, or then you're looking at higher levels that come up for you on the screen. The Nifty Bank, it appears it's got its mojo bank. And now I think the near-term support is that level where, it was having a bit of a tussle. So 52,500 becomes important. The all-time highs are at around 54,500 odd. It looks on course to move out there, led by HDFC Bank. Stocks in focus, there are two stocks that have been running along. That is Graphite as well as HEG. Both of them in the last few trading sessions, they're up between 30 to 40%. That's on the news that, in fact, China has put in some curbs with regard to their exports, but that is on graphite, not on graphite electrodes. So after this kind of move that we have seen, will there be some cooling off? Because graphite is the one that, in fact, is mined. The graphite electrodes is manufactured. So let's see whether or not there is some cooling off. Incred as well has put out their viewpoint that, in fact, things are very, very different. So I'll be watching both these two stocks in today's session.
Okay, all right. We'll definitely look out for both HEG and Graphite. Thanks for that, Nigel. Now that news flash is on, 1 lakh is finally here on the Bitcoin, so all the crypto bulls would be rejoicing. In fact, I'm just checking, checking the others as well on the crypto side. In general, I mean, most of them are up and about. Bitcoin the surge this morning is about 6%. Ether is up about 7%. Solana in the famous Dogecoin, 4.5%. So the whole complex is moving higher, with Bitcoin taking out that big level as well.